So as mentioned, my name is Hannah Gurman. I'm the program coordinator for UC International Admissions. I manage all of our agent partnerships throughout the world. I also provide graduate program support. So if you have any questions regarding graduate assistance, while our department doesn't directly handle that, I can definitely help to support you as best I can or point you in the direction of someone who can help you. And you know Sarah Mackey, I'm sure as well. She is the associate director for our office. She was promoted last year in 2021, so we are very happy for her. It's well-deserved promotion. So she is now providing more agent support on the back end if anything is needed, but she's really looking at the bigger pictures within our office. And she's also still managing our global offices as well. And just a few reminders of who we are. We have around 10 Cincinnati-based staff. Our office is growing and is changing, so some of the roles are shifting a little bit as mentioned within our office, but primarily our office is focused on undergraduate degree seeking international admissions. Our office does not focus on graduate admissions. So at the undergraduate level, we assist with the application, the admissions, and pre-arrival support. All of that graduate application at admissions is handled directly by the graduate programs and the graduate school. We do also have UC International Services, and they have been wonderful. They're a staff of around 13 as well in Cincinnati. They are growing, and they support all of our students with student immigration, employment, programming, and arrival support as well. And of course, they've been very busy and very dedicated during this time of the pandemic when a lot of embassies have been closing and students have been having difficulty getting their visas. So they've been wonderful as well. We do have 3 global offices. So we have our UC China office, which was established in 2006 and is managed by Grace and Carrie. We have our UC India office, which is currently managed by Sanjay Jain, fantastic. And we have UC Vietnam as well, based in Ho Chi Minh, and that is managed by Tan Nguyen. And just to give a brief overview of who we are as a university, we have around 46,000 total enrollment across our 3 campuses. And we do have 3 campuses. Our largest campus is our main campus, or Uptown campus, which has around 38,000 students. And total within that enrollment is around 3,500 international students. So we are very proud of the diversity that we have from around 115 different countries. We do have an incredible retention rate as well of around 96.4%. So that really demonstrates that our international students are happy here. They feel supported, they feel welcome, and they are staying. We have overall a really good student faculty ratio. So we have around 17:1 student per faculty. That does change, of course, that is the average. Some students coming into their breadth of knowledge beginner classes first year may be a bit larger, but really as they get more focused on their specific degree, those classes are most likely going to be smaller and smaller. So they'll really get that focus and that attention from their professors, as well as that collaboration more with their other classmates. We do have 11 different colleges with more than 350 different academic programs. So really, we're very also proud to be able to, to support students really with whatever academic interests they're interested in. So I think the only major really that students have asked about that we don't have is hospitality, but really, we have such incredible offerings for the academic programs that if a student is interested in a program, we most likely have it. And of course, some students may not know what they're ready to study as they come in as a first-year student, and that's completely fine as well. So for that, in our College of Arts and Sciences, we have a very popular Center for Exploratory Studies. So students can come in undecided, and that's completely fine. They'll work with an exploratory advisor to take classes and find their interest and transition towards declaring a major in their second year. We also have incredible resources, beautiful, beautiful campus. It's actually been named one of the world's most beautiful campuses by Forbes magazine. If you've never been here, hopefully someday you will be able to make it to Cincinnati and UC's campus, and you can come visit us. We'd love to see you here. It's a really, really beautiful campus. We have a nice mix of urban architecture and traditional architecture, a lot of green space. The students love it. And we actually got snow yesterday. So hopefully all the students are staying warm and are excited about seeing the snow for that if it's their first time. And just a few reminders, I covered a lot of this in our previous fall webinar for agents and partners, but just as, again, a reminder, we are still test optional for the fall 2022 intake for undergraduate students. So that means students do not have to submit SAT or ACT scores, but if they can, I really do still recommend it if it's possible. It really helps us to gauge and get a better barometer for their test of English and test of math. If they aren't able to take that SAT or ACT score, we understand it's very difficult at this time to take some kind of tests. We do accept still Duolingo to satisfy the English requirement, and that is, we recommend it is the fastest and easiest way for students to meet that test of English requirement. So if they can't take the SAT or ACT, we really recommend that Duolingo score. There are a few exceptions for students who do not have to meet that test of English requirement, and those are all listed on our website very clearly if students have any questions. But basically, it's for students who have taken a full year of English within the United States or at an English-speaking country that's listed on our website, or have received a good grade within an O-level. Additionally, we have wonderful co-ops, internships. We have continued to see growth within our university and specifically within our international students. We've again seen our largest and most diverse class in this past academic year. And I'll talk again at the end about our Accelerated College English program. This was previously known as our Pathway program, but it is basically our internal 1+3 program. It has expanded to new majors, so this is a wonderful opportunity for students who potentially maybe just be below that English minimum requirement, but still are very interested in coming to the University of Cincinnati. So why study in the US at all? We know that there are growing markets for students to go to. They can go anywhere in the world, and it's becoming more and more of a possibility to study for their higher education. But you know, the University of Cincinnati plus the United States really does offer incredible opportunities for students. As you know, not only do we value diversity, which is really wonderful for students to meet students from all over the world on campus, but they'll have those opportunities for really good higher education, flexible education. So again, if they're not really sure what they want to do, they'll also be able to tailor, you know, their specific degree towards what their interests really are. They'll get academic support. And what students are really interested, of course, is that OPT, CPT, and STEM extension OPT to work in the United States after graduation. So Cincinnati is also a really growing city. Again, if you haven't had the opportunity to visit Cincinnati yet, I really hope that you are able to do so within the next few years or within the near future. It's a wonderful city, and it is growing rapidly. It's definitely a growing city for businesses. We have Fortune 500 companies, 9 of them headquartered in Cincinnati, and infrastructure is growing every year. We have new stadiums built. We had a new soccer stadium built. We have a new music center. And it's really an up and coming place to live for young students, for young adults. It's becoming very popular as a metropolitan city. It's a good job market, and most importantly, it's a very affordable place to live. So there's really a lot of opportunity for students who come to this city. And we are very central. So, you know, if you want to go on a long trip over a break or something during school, students will have that opportunity to visit cities throughout the Midwest and the East Coast. This is also a wonderful opportunity for students who are looking at potentially an internship or a co-op, and they want to leave the city of Cincinnati for a little bit. They'll have the opportunity to do so within these surrounding cities. Again, we are consistently ranked academically with our programs, as also our return on investment. Cincinnati, again, is a very wonderful city, but it's also very safe. And so I know that's really important to students and to families, especially as they're looking where to send their students during this time in their life. And we're also very welcoming. As mentioned before, we are ranked number 5 on the world's most welcoming on the International Student Barometer. So it's really a wonderful and friendly place for students to be. So I'll get a little bit more now into our programs. So a really popular reason that students choose the University of Cincinnati is our top ranked cooperative education program, also known as co-op. And UC actually invented co-op in 1906. And so we have a pretty good support system and pretty good connections for our students who participate in this co-op program. And students can earn quite a bit of money. And I know that's definitely a selling point for students. So collectively, students have earned over $75 million around per year. And it's about $10,000 US dollars per co-op on average that a student will earn. And students are connected to, they can choose to do co-ops within Cincinnati, within different states, or within different countries around the world. So we're connected to over 22 countries and more than 1,600 employers. Some of our programs do have a 5-year graduation requirement because they are completing 5 co-op semesters. And so you can see at the bottom kind of a sample schedule for a student who is in one of these required co-op programs. So it's basically, in general, it's 4 years of school still and 1 year of paid work experience, but that is alternating between academic semesters and co-op semesters, and that will start after their first academic year. Students will start that altering their semesters. But we provide all of that support. Students take a co-op preparation course, so they're building their resumes, they're going to job fairs that we provide for them, they're doing mock interviews, and they're really learning the nuances and the idiosyncrasies that come with American work life. So we help them to really get through that transition and get into that co-op experience. And it really, honestly, not only do they get paid, which they're really excited about, but they really get wonderful experiences and really good chances for jobs after graduation, because that's also what they're looking for, of course, as well. Do I have any questions so far? I'll pause. Okay, well, I'll keep going, but feel free to jump in again with questions, or again, I'll leave some time at the end. But some of our more popular programs, as you can see, are a lot of our STEM programs, of course. But, you know, with over 350 programs, it doesn't limit students to, you know, just the STEM programs. A lot of our programs within our College of Design, Architecture, Art, and Planning are very popular, as well as some others that you can see below. But for these popular programs, especially, it's really important for students to get that application in early, so they'll be reviewed quicker. And sometimes those popular programs will close if they've received enough applicants and their pool is full. So really important for students to get their applications in early as soon as they can. So there are different requirements slightly for different programs, as you are aware, but in general, we break it down into 2 different categories, and that's going to be our selective program and our more general programs at the undergraduate level. And so basically that means there's going to be a higher GPA for those more selective programs, and they're really looking at making sure students have specific classes. So for example, in our engineering, students are really looking at having at least like a pre-calc requirement or a physics and chemistry requirement. So it's different based on the programs that they're applying to. But if you have any questions throughout that process as you're helping students, please feel free to reach out to us you know, let us know if you have any questions. We do look at applications holistically though. So of course we are looking at that that test score and that GPA. Of course, those transcripts are very important, but we're also looking at the whole application. So the students are submitting an essay and a statement. We do require both for the University of Cincinnati. And we're also looking at those letters of recommendation, those extracurricular activities. So we really encourage students to submit everything that they can with their application. We do review all of it. And so I'll move on to some of our more selective admissions colleges and programs. So as you can see, that's really with our College of Design, Architecture, Art, and Planning, our College of Engineering and Applied Sciences, our College Conservatory of Music and Medical Sciences. These programs have an early action deadline of December 1st. Really encouraged to take the SAT, ACT, but not required. And again, these are the schools and programs that have a higher GPA and higher test score requirements than other programs. So the December 1st deadline has obviously passed. If any of the programs do still have openings, students may still be able to apply in some of the programs. Sometimes engineering and applied sciences programs remain open if it's the less popular programs like the technology programs, or within design, architecture, art, and planning. Potentially some of the fine art major will still be open. But a College Conservatory of Music, they have the pre-screening materials, they are closed, and medical sciences is closed as well. But in general, for the rest of the programs for the other colleges, we have a rolling deadline of March 1st. So students still have time to submit their application at the undergraduate level. And again, I'll share this with you at the end, but we do have a closed program website so students can see if they can still apply to their program, if it's still taking applications. But that rolling deadline is March 1st. So we really encourage students to get that application as soon as possible. If they're ready to go now, to go ahead and do it now and not wait till March 1st. That way they'll really be able to get their decision a little bit faster. After our decision release day, which is January 24th, we typically turn decisions around as long as it's not a really busy season. Within 2 to 3 weeks, a few weeks, students should be able to receive an admissions decision if they're applying after that decision, early decision deadline. And that really gives students an opportunity to make their decision, to think about if they've been accepted to more than one university, where they want to go, and to make that confirmation so that they can really get rolling on their visa processes. Because I know students and families are very worried about getting visas and coming to the United States on time. So if they're able to make that decision a little bit sooner, they'll be able to move forward with that process, of course, a little bit sooner. SAT is optional. Again, if students can submit that. We also take Duolingo, TOEFL, IELTS to meet that test of English. And that GPA for the general admissions is about 2.7, but we're looking at an average about 3.2 to 3.7 for students on the 4.0 scale. So students for first year can apply online through the common application. Of course, I'm sure you're all familiar with that, but the graduate application is different. For students who are applying at the graduate level, there's a separate portal. And again, our office only does undergraduate admissions processing. So if students are applying at the graduate level, basically what I can do is see if their application is complete and if they've been tagged to the correct agency. But other than that, all of the materials at the graduate level need to be uploaded to the graduate application portal. But any undergraduate materials, if students are having trouble uploading documents, you can send those directly to us and we can do that for you at the undergraduate level. So we do require those secondary school transcripts. We do ask for an English translation if it's not already in English. Again, test of English, what we accept is listed below. For our proof of math, so this has changed and this has gone out as a notification to our students, as well as it has been in our monthly newsletter. But proof of math is no longer required for admission into a program. It is only required for scholarship consideration. So I still tell all students that they really should be taking that math test. If they can't take the SAT or ACT, UC offers a free online math placement test. Because I know retroactively, I get a lot of questions, and I'm sure you do too. Why didn't I get scholarship? And it's because they didn't take that test of math or submit that test of math ability. So even though it's not required now for our admissions purposes, I really still highly encourage students to take that math test. It doesn't count against them if they take it and it's a lower score than they would have wanted. It's really just seeing if they're able to be considered for scholarship. So really encouraging them to take it, even though it's not required. So if they go onto their application portal right now, they'll most likely see on that checklist, they'll see math ability waived, and they'll maybe think, I don't have to do it to submit my application, which is true, but they need it to be considered for scholarship. So again, I know I've kind of stressed that hard, but I really want students to be able to have that consideration before it's too late. And so we would like students to take that math ability test as soon as possible. If they can take their application and get it submitted now and submit that math score by Feb 1st, that would be fantastic. Again, these are kind of our English minimums for our different types of tests of English that we accept. And it does vary a little bit by the selective programs that I was discussing, as well as the university minimums. So this is that math placement test, which you may have already been familiar with. If students cannot take that SAT or ACT, they can take this free online math placement test to be considered for our merit-based scholarship. We have proctored around the world. We have proctors with UC, so students can sign up on our website, and there are testing times, I believe, available every Tuesday, Wednesday for students to take. So they can just go ahead and get registered for that, and they'll be sent all of the directions for how to take the test, as well as the link. And that score will post within about a week to their application. So just a few reminders on our deadlines. So December 1st was our deadline for our selective programs. But if a program still has an opening, students may be able to apply, but that's not going to be for every college for sure. Our rolling deadline is March 1st. So again, programs will remain open if they haven't filled their number of applications they are accepting. For students who met that early application deadline of December 1st, for any program, will receive their decision on January 24th of this year. So coming up very soon, they'll receive an email. They'll receive two separate emails. They'll receive one notifying them that a decision has been made and they can check their portal for the news. And then separately, they'll receive an email regarding if they've received scholarship. So there will be two separate emails, both on the same day with different information, if they have received admission and if they've received scholarship. But we're very excited. That's coming up very, very soon. And after that, again, we'll try to review applications and let students know within a few weeks of their decision. So again, students, hopefully they can confirm that they want to come to UC right away. Hopefully they really, really want to come here and it's an easy decision. Once they confirm, we'll start receiving housing and orientation information a little bit later in the spring. And it's really important that they do that right away if they know they want to come, because housing especially does fill out very, very quickly, and they'll receive a housing time to sign up. And their confirmation deadline is May 1st. So as mentioned before, we have three different campuses. We have our main campus, which is also known as our Uptown campus, is our largest campus. But we also have our two regional campuses known as our UC Blue Ash campus and our UC Claremont campus. And this is a nice alternative for students who do not meet the Uptown campus minimums for their program. So not meeting maybe the GPA or meeting the math score, but it's also a nice alternative for students who want a slightly cheaper tuition. So students, what they can do is they can start for 2 years at Blue Ash at that program, and then transition for the last 2 years to main campus. And this won't affect anything on their degree, it will still say degree from the University of Cincinnati. It just offers a little bit cheaper tuition for those first 2 years. So it is a nice alternative. It's not recommended for all programs, though. It's not recommended for the more selective programs, and especially for engineering and for DAP, the Design, Architecture, Art, and Planning program, which have those, as I mentioned, those 5 co-op semester requirements. So those really need to be completed at the main campus for engineering and design students. But other than that, it's a good way to talk to students if they're really worried financially, but also to note they won't be living at Blue Ash or Claremont. They are a little bit located outside of the city of Cincinnati. Blue Ash would be maybe a 30-minute drive. We do offer a shuttle from main campus to the Blue Ash campus, but they'll have to, it'll take some coordination to get their classes to go to that Blue Ash campus and come back. UC Claremont is a bit further away than that. I'd say it's maybe an hour away. So students would need to sort out their own housing most likely and get a car. So it's important they know that as well if they're applying to those campuses, that they're not going to be on main campus. So we don't want anyone to come to Cincinnati and be surprised that they're not on the main campus. So it's just, we want to make sure they understand that clarification. If students aren't sure, if they're thinking about Blue Ash, between Blue Ash, that's more popular as our regional campus for international students, or if they're trying to decide if it should be Blue Ash or main campus, what I would really encourage students to do is go ahead and apply to the main campus with that common application. They can see if they're admitted, they can see what kind of scholarship they want. If it's not what they want, we can then transition their application to Blue Ash pretty easily if they request that. But if they apply to Blue Ash, we cannot transition their application to main campus because the main campus requirements are higher, if that makes sense. So if they're really not sure, as mentioned, I really recommend getting that application into main campus first. And then if they wish to request to transition to Blue Ash, it's a little bit easier. So if you have any questions on that or students are unsure, again, please feel free to reach out to us. As you can see through the tuition rates, you can see the differences between the main campus tuition and the regional campuses between Blue Ash and Claremont. So there is a significant amount of tuition difference, but it's also important to note for scholarships, we typically, I believe this is on a later slide, but we typically have a range of around $1,000 to around $15,000 merit-based scholarship per year that students are automatically considered for with their complete application and with their test and math score. Now that scholarship rate is for main campus, so it's very important to note that. So while main campus tuition is higher, scholarship potential is also higher. So to keep that in mind, they're not going to be getting a $15,000 scholarship for the Blue Ash campus. So that's basically, they're not getting a free tuition at Blue Ash. The scholarship potential does go down for Blue Ash because that tuition is cheaper. So again, apply to main campus if they're really unsure, and then we can always transition. But it's important to note that scholarship amount is for main campus only. We do scholarship at Blue Ash and Claremont, but it is lower. And you can see our ACE program as well. We do scholarship for that as well. Very similar as you would to the regular main campus tuition. And you can see our graduate tuition as well. So living expenses are around $15,000 per year, we estimate, for students for their first year of campus. Students are required to live on campus for their first year. That's really so that they can get the full range of experiences, of resources that we offer at our university. But it's just for that first year that they're required to live on campus. After that, they can, live off campus, which isn't really that far. They can live a few blocks away with roommates, and that can help to bring down the cost that second, third, and fourth year, or potentially fifth, if they're worried about that, because they, again, live with roommates, buy their own groceries, cook for themselves. It can bring that cost down a little bit. And since Cincinnati is a pretty affordable city, it does help. But you can see that total cost as well. And of course, students are required to have health insurance, especially at this time. So As mentioned, I already kind of went all over this, how students apply, how much scholarship per year is. The average scholarship award is around $8,000 per year. So to keep that in mind, we do not offer fully funded scholarships. If that's what students are looking for, that's not really what we offer. So we're really looking for students $1,000 to $15,000 booking range. We can't really tell students what they're going to be receiving. If they ask ahead of time, it's really, unfortunately, please apply and see what kind of scholarship you get. So that's really what we're looking for with that. I've kind of already gone over all of this. I'll mention again our ACE program, which stands for our Accelerated College English Program. This was previously known as the Pathway Program, but it is in its 4th year. This is our 1+3 program within the University of Cincinnati. And so it's for those students who are just under our English minimum requirements for the main campus. So it's really a fantastic opportunity. Students start taking major-based courses immediately the first year. So it's basically half major-based classes and half English language support. And then they work with an academic advisor and they transition directly to full courses that are major-based in that 2nd year. It's no additional cost and students are still considered for scholarship for this. And it's really a nice way for students who aren't feeling maybe very secure about their English speaking abilities to really have that support and that connection with other international students. So it's really a fantastic program. And we really encourage students who are just under that English minimum to apply. Okay, so claiming students. Students must be connected to the agency they're working with at the time of their application. So it's really, really important. So when it comes to looking at commission payments later, the student is connected to that agency and there is no doubt. We had, I'm sure you may be aware, we had some difficulties with this at the graduate level, at least, because students had with COVID-19 and with everything that was happening within the world and deferrals, students were completing more than one application, students were deferring, students working with more than one agency. So it can get complicated within that type of dynamic. But if a student is working with you only, it's really very clear my apologies. It's really very clear who they're working with. And so if that's indicated on their application, that's really what we need to see. There is a section on the common application for students to do that. We do not really need commission letters. We were in the past asking for that. I know possibly maybe when Sarah or if you even were working with Alyssa previously, there was commission letters required. We don't require commission letters anymore. As long as that student is indicated on their application within the Common App that they're working with you, that is sufficient enough for us to know that we can tag them to your agency. So assisting students also is definitely, of course, anything we're here to help you with if you have any questions. Within our next newsletter, we're going to be putting in some information. We do have a closed programs website, so this is going to be really helpful for students who are wondering whether a competitive program or a popular program is still accepting applications. So you can view that on our website as well. And we also want to encourage students who are applying to UC to register for one of our virtual information sessions. So this is a great way for students to get their questions answered, as well as meet some of our UC Cincinnati staff members. And really their families are welcome to get some questions answered and really get really good information. So we highly encourage students to register for those virtual event sessions. And of course, we'll continue to do ongoing training and support. Anything that's needed, just please reach out to me. Please let us know. It's definitely been very, very busy. If you've sent me an email and it's taken a few days to receive a response, we have had quite a bit of, as mentioned, we've had quite a bit of office shifts, so transitioning roles and such. And we've also had an increase again in applications for this year. So far already, we're up over 200 applications from last year for international students alone. So we are quite busy, but of course, we're still here to support you if there's anything that you need. So please reach out to me and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. But we do have wonderful resources for you as well. So hopefully this helps to kind of give you some questions to answers that you may have. So I mentioned this in our fall 2021 webinar that we made our first ever agent handbook. And this has, we're hoping, a lot of information that will help you through this process working with students. It's for information for you as an agent partner, but as well as information for students. So it covers how commissions work, our different academic colleges, of course, our cooperative education program, residential life at UC, and general undergraduate and graduate admissions. So it's a great resource for one stop for general information on UC. It is on our website. If you want to take a look at that as a PDF. We also have our graduate guide. So if you're working with a lot of graduate students, UC has, of course, decentralized admissions. So that means not only are our undergraduate and our graduate offices separate, but within the graduate school, the different graduate programs are separate. So that means a student applying to the College of Engineering and Applied Science at the graduate level is not going to be communicating or being able to have the same requirements as a student applying to the graduate school for the College of Business. So they're all decentralized within the graduate level as well. But it's all going to be on that graduate application portal. The difficult part is there are a lot of different requirements as mentioned, but there are also different deadlines at the graduate level. And there's also different turnaround time at the graduate level. Most notoriously, our College of Engineering and Applied Sciences does take the longest to respond at the graduate level because they receive so many applications. So it is really important students, especially for that college, get their application in early. The priority deadline for the grad engineering program has passed. That was January 15th. But I believe their rolling application is March 15th if programs are still open, and that's not guaranteed. But if students have submitted an app for the graduate engineering program, it can take several months for a decision to be released because they have so many applications to go through. And so I know students can get very anxious about wanting to know whether they get admitted because again, they're trying to get their decision made and move forward with that visa process. Unfortunately, that is not our office, and I don't control any of the graduate admissions decisions. That goes through their own committees. So they'll just be notified through email once a decision has been made. So that's why it's also really important for students at the graduate level to submit early because they can take a little bit longer to read those applications and get back to students with a decision. And that's kind of just an overview of who we are as a reminder of the policy changes. Really the biggest change from fall 2021 to spring 2022 and fall 2022 is that test of math requirement is no longer required for admission, but is still required for scholarship. And so that is the biggest change as of now. COVID-19, I can give you quick updates on those real quick. We are seeing an increase in cases, but hospitalizations are down. So UC went remote for the first fully remote. We are expecting to go back to fully in-person classes next week. So students are looking forward to being back in classes. And UC is still maintaining safety protocols. So students are still required to wear masks, students are required for social distancing, and so on and so forth. We are excited to see students back on campus again within